Hello everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Essence. Now, today's video, I'm going to warn you straight out. Some of the stuff we'll be talking about on this topic may be a bit disgusting. If you are someone who gets queasy very easily and is sensitive to gross topics, this probably isn't the video for you. Now, you may be wondering then, why am I even talking about it on a spiritual channel? Well, because it is important. It is a part of magic. It is something useful that can add a little boost to your magic and your spells. It's just something that I don't think a whole lot of people are aware of, and I think not too many people practice it. I'm not sure though, but it's something that I learned early on in magic, and I thought I would share it with you, gross or not. So in this video, we're going to be talking about magical materials that are collected from the body. Now, your body is a mechanism. It's like a fleshy robot for the spirit. It's the reason why we can traverse this world so easily. If we were spirits, we would not be able to interact with the other robots here. Ghosts have a very hard time getting up enough energy to communicate, and they can't really touch or speak to people very without like generating a whole lot of energy. Damn. But our bodies have a whole lot of energy. I mean, our spirits are made of energy, and throughout our lives, though, that energy fluctuates through frequencies, and it can get higher or lower depending on what we are feeling. Our passionate souls, man, that the energy of the chakras, the energy of our emotions, the energy of just our overall health, both mental and physical, all of those come into play. And it's because of these energies that are constantly radiating outward that our bodies have so much to offer our magical spells. So, things to collect from the body that can be utilized in a spell. Number one is hair. Of course, our bodies are covered in hair. Some of us more than others. I'm hairy as hell. But like, have you ever heard of someone asking for a clump of someone's hair for a spell? It's because it holds the energy from our bodies. It grows out of our body. It absorbs the energies coming from our body. So therefore, it's optimal. Now, some people will burn it during a spell, even though it probably wouldn't smell very good. People can put it in little pop-it dolls for whatever spell. They may be able to tie it up in with string or rope for a binding spell, what have you. But it's there. Usually hair from the top of the head is optimal. Unless they're bald, then you may have to search for other things. Not even gonna go there. Saliva. Saliva. Our mouths generate a whole lot of saliva. Very good source of energy because whenever we get emotional, we tend to speak a lot. That energy comes through our mouth. Voila. So much energy to charge up. Tears. Now, I think tears are quite hard to get. Like, I'm a person who doesn't easily cry. In fact, I can't even remember when was the last time I actually cried. It's been so long. And I'm not a person who can make themselves cry on command. Some people do have that. A lot of good actors out there who can do that. For those people, this might work. But for me, nope. And it really depends on what you're feeling when you collect those tears. Obviously, if you're trying to do a spell for, a good thing in your life, you don't want to be having tears of sadness. And if it's something, let's say it's a dark spell for someone else, you don't want tears of happiness or tears of joy to muddy that up. Blood. Blood is probably number one. Now, no way in hell am I telling anyone to mutilate themselves or harm themselves to harvest blood for a spell. If you choose to do it, that's on you. Some people are that dedicated, believe it or not, but I can't even come to poking my finger with a needle to get one little blood drop. It's, not good with pain, I don't think a lot of guys are. But blood is probably the most energetically charged material that your body can produce. Considering that it is all over our body, it is more susceptible to the changes in frequency from our spirits than other bodily fluids. So therefore, it's probably the best one. Now, if I did use blood in a spell, it would be totally by accident. Either I accidentally hurt myself and I'm bleeding, or during the summer months, I tend to get a lot of nosebleeds because my nose gets so dry. So if I had like a tissue full of my blood, then I'd be like, okay, I could utilize that. And then there's even women who will use menstrual blood in their rituals, depending on what rituals. Some may use it in a ritual to Sekhmet, who is the Egyptian goddess of the hunt. Some might use it in rituals to the Morrigan, who is I believe she is a Welsh goddess of torment and punishment. And there's other dark deities, female deities, that women practitioners will utilize menstrual blood for. But that is naturally occurring in the body, so it's not like they're actually harming themselves to get it. But I'm not going to tell you to harvest blood from yourself in any way. Like I said, if you do it, that's on you. Urine can be a good one. May not hold nearly as much energy as some of other things like blood or hair, but if you can't get anything else, then urine can work. Sweat, I don't know. It would take a lot of movement in order to generate the necessary amount of sweat needed to actually have something usable for a spell. So my only guess is if you managed to work up a sweat while you were exercising and you were feeling good and you wanted to take maybe a paper towel and wipe yourself off and then put that aside to use in a ritual, that's fine. It's just not something that's really easy to come by without effort. And then another one is semen. Of course, females can't produce that, but men can, and especially for fertility rituals, that can be utilized wonderfully. I have never used my own, and I have never asked anyone for it because isn't that freaking awkward? Yeah, can I have a semen sample because I'm going to do a spell for you guys? No. But it is a viable option. And it will work. It does contain a good amount of energy. Now, I know I probably don't even need to say it, but I feel like I do because there's going to be people out there who are going to try it. Gross, disgusting people. Do not use feces. No, that is like the grossest bodily substance you can get. And I don't really think it would have that much, energy anyway. But I know there's some people who are watching this who'll be like, you didn't mention, poop. You didn't mention feces. I did that on purpose. Because that's disgusting. But I know there's people out there who are very gross and have no shame and probably are going to try and use their own. Which, you know what? Fine. If you want to do it, that's you. That's on your choice. I am not going to tell you what to do. But, so those are the main sources of bodily material that one can utilize in a spell that are probably the easiest to come by. They can add an extra boost to a magic spell for yourself if it's from you. If it's from another person, then, it could help boost a spell if you're doing a spell for someone. To give you guys an example, so years ago, one of my coworkers, her and her boyfriend, who also worked with her at the time, were looking for an apartment, but they were having trouble finding one. And they happened to overhear that I worked with spell work and magic, and they were like, hey, is it possible that you could do a spell to help us find an apartment? And I said, well, I can try. And I said, and she's like, is there anything you need? And I said, well, she had a soda can, and she was done with it. And I collected bottles back then, so it wasn't really a weird thing to ask if I could have the bottle. But I said, is there anything left in it? And she's like, yeah, there's a little bit. And I said, I can use that. So I took it home. I wrote on a big bay leaf the intention. And then I poured a few drops of the soda from the can, which of course had her saliva in it because she'd been drinking out of it. I rubbed it into the bay leaf, and then I burnt it until it was like ash, and then let the smoke rise, and then I said a little prayer, and that was it. And about 2 weeks later, they found a good apartment, and she was like, oh my God, thank you. And I said, well, you're welcome. So that could be utilized. And another bonus one that I almost forgot to tell you. So clothing, because it's so close to our skin, can catch our emotional energies, especially if it's something that we've been wearing for a long time. And its energy isn't like dirt. It's not like you throw it in the wash and all of a sudden there's no more energy to it. So energy will stick on for quite a while, unless there's like a new energy that's actually pushing it out or changing it. So if you had a piece of a person's clothing, that could work. But a lot of people don't want to be cutting up their clothes. But if it's a piece of old clothing, or if you can get a few strings off it that are coming loose anyway, that could also be utilized in a spell. All of them can be utilized. And I know that talking about the bodily fluids and the bodily materials may sound a bit gross, and a lot of you be like, oh my God, you guys really do that? I have utilized my own hair before in a spell. My own saliva. Let me see. I never used sweat or tears I used blood once. And before you guys say anything, I did not collect it by harming myself. It was a nosebleed, and I had it on a tissue. So before I did the spell, I gave it a little extra boost of energy. I prayed over it and charged it. And then I put it in my burning bowl along with some herbs, some bay leaves, and also a little note of my intentions. And I set it on fire. And I let it burn all the way. So I know a lot of you maybe think, that's disgusting. It may be. but it works. And for those of you who really want to go gung-ho into magic, I mean, that's something you can do to kind of upgrade your energy, to upgrade your spells. Just saying, and I'd be kicking myself if I didn't at least mention it. There's going to be people out there who get it, and some people who are just going to be like, ew. That's fine. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me on this slightly disgusting subject. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button so you don't miss any of my future uploads, which won't be nearly as disgusting. And have a good day, everyone.